Welcome everybody back to the Friar Talk podcast and YouTube channel. Today it's going to be me and Isaac. We are going to be talking about the Padres manager candidates, and a couple guys that have been rumored and linked to the Padres. And then we're going to go through. We're not going to talk about every one of these guys, but we're going to talk about our favorite guys. Eventually, we will do an episode where we kind of predict, like, all right, this is the guy that we really want them to go higher. We're still kind of thinking about it too. Like, we're still mulling our decision as well, similar to the Padres. But there are a few guys that are being mentioned. I will go through them right now. This was a Buster only tweet and then a Bob Nightingale tweet. So the candidates that were mentioned were Ron Washington, Bruce Bochy, Buck Showalter, Alex Boone, Brad Ausmus, Jeff Bannister, and John Gibbons. So out of those guys, there's two guys that I like a little bit more. But Isaac, I want you to go over just what's your thought on the whole list, and then who are your favorite guys, and then I'll come back and talk about mine.
I will not lie. I don't really like it. Obviously, we all like Bruce Bochy. Everyone loves Bruce Bochy. I love Bruce Bochy. That's the one guy. Like when I look at that list, when I saw between all those candidates, that was the one guy that I was like, okay, if it's gonna be between these guys, this is who I want. This is the guy. Like obviously, everyone's already on the bring back Bruce Bochy train. I'm on it. Everyone's on it. But in the case that he's not willing to come back, which I don't know how willing he would be. I think it's going to be a tough one to get him out of retirement, get him back to San Diego. I don't know how I feel about Ron Washington. We used to be in favor of him. I don't know if Matt still is. I don't know if Chase still is. But, upon further research, I don't know if anyone heard about the story, but Yu Darvish was at 135 pitches in a game. And he wanted to throw him back out there after Darvish was already saying, like, yo, my arm hurts, basically. And obviously, he doesn't go back out there, but he wanted Darvish to go back out there. And at the end of the game, he goes, maybe the next day, I forgot when it was, he goes, so what? He's got some inflammation. I got inflammation. What are you saying, dude? And keep in mind, the guy he said that about is on this team. He's one of our best starting pitchers. Numbers didn't show, but we traded a lot for the guy. So he is, like, statistically, he is one of our best starting pitchers, at least what history shows. So, I mean, I don't know. And he's got a kind of a weird past. If you go look into his criminal history, I don't know if he was, convicted or whatever it was, but he is old. I don't know how he's kept up with the game. I will say, I think he's a great infield coach. Manny seems in favor of him. There's guys that seem in favor of him on this team, and maybe he could help Fernando clean up his errors. I will say, I do think that was kind of a fluky season in terms of all those errors. Most of them came in the first, month or two where he was practically playing without a shoulder in his socket. So, I mean, I do think those were a little fluky. Now, I will say, of course, Bochy's the guy. Showalter is 100% a no-go for me. Bannister, maybe, just because I know his records don't show much promise, but I think those teams that he managed towards the back end of his tenure with the Rangers were just not very good, and he was not going to win much with those teams. I think he actually overperformed with those teams rather than underperformed. So it was kind of a confusing fire, at least from the articles I saw. He was a manager of the year. I would probably say that's my second or third candidate. The other two I'm not crazy familiar with. And there is a guy, probably after Matt talks about who he likes, that I do want to bring up, who, I don't know how many people will be in favor of him because he will be a rookie manager, but I think he needs to be mentioned.
We're going to talk about him tomorrow.
Oh, bet. Oh, okay. Go for it.
So I'm also like in agreement about Bruce Bochy. I do think that it would be the guy that I'd want them to go after. I don't know if I'm fully out. I feel like I don't know if I'm like 100% out on Ron Washington, because it does seem like the guys want him, but it doesn't seem like it's the right organizational move. It really doesn't. It doesn't seem like that's the best move. Like, if you're really trying to go and like turn it around, I don't think that's the move you do. I like Alex Boone. Now that's kind of up in the air. I feel like that got started when like Yankee fans were freaking out after they lost to the Red Sox. So I don't know if there's really much truth to that.
Aaron Boone?
Alex, isn't Alex? It's Aaron. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, when you said Alex, I was like, who's that? Yo, I'd love Aaron Boone. Is that what really happened? Yeah, I'd love Aaron Boone. I know the playoff history is not exactly what everyone wants, but I mean, come on, this isn't like a Marty. I don't know why Marty Schottenheimer ever got fired. That kind of playoff stuff isn't real. Like you don't just he's got a bad history in the playoffs. It's just coincidental. Like his team,
That's what I feel
don't
like
win.
too.
Yeah,
Unless you're making terrible decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a certain manager in Los Angeles.
Yes.
Very bad decision. But yeah, sorry, I messed up the name. Yeah, Aaron Boone. I like Aaron Boone a lot. I like the idea of bringing him in there. I don't know how I messed that up. But I think if he's the guy, but that's kind of just a rumor. I don't know if that's like a true candidate. It does seem like Bochy. It's almost like is it up to Bochy? Like is he the number one guy? Is that maybe just the San Diego media kind of like please bring Bochy back? Possibly, but I think that's the best one just because it's going to provide a lot of structure if you bring Bruce Bochy in. Um, I think the kind of like the stuff that was talked about where Hosmer was going to get potentially moved and like Manny and Tatis went over and told probably like, hey, don't do this. Like that's not happening under Bochy. And we've talked about this in the past. If that's true and that's the stuff that you need to change and you need to make a stable organization, go get Bruce Bochy, swing for the fences with the manager, and go do that. The one concern about that is Bochy's is quite a bit older. Probably wouldn't manage for that long. Probably like max like 3 seasons. That's what my guess. Maybe 4. I don't know. I don't really know what his plans are, but I don't think it would be super long. That's why I like the idea of Boone. I think Jeff Bannister, like you said, like I don't hate it. I think the thing that drives me away from it is that he's also coming from the Rangers organization, which also is a reason to kind of drive you away from Ron Washington as well. Um, it's like let's go somewhere else. Like let's think outside the box of like let's just have this tunnel vision of like oh yeah we're only going to go back to the well and of the Rangers organization. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. But anything else you want to add on these guys? And maybe anything also like that you're specifically looking for in this candidate that they hire?
Well, yeah, I'm looking for stuff. I don't really have anything to add about these guys. I think, some are better than the others. Ron Washington, like, the only thing that concerns me is that I feel like that just be hiring someone on instinct, like they just want to get it done with, because we know he has major interest in becoming the Padres manager. Like that, there's no question about that. I just feel like this should be a longer process than just, oh, we want Ron Washington, you want us, let's just do it. There's got to be more that goes into it, considering we don't know how long this window is. Obviously, we didn't succeed this year, so there goes one wasted season that's down the drain. You don't want any more of those, because if you have more of those, if you have one this year, realistically, you could be seeing the Padres getting rid of some guys. You need to hire the right manager. I think the Padres organization knows if you don't do it this year and you do get rid of some guys, all that revenue that they made in 2021, zap, gone, just like that. It's not going to come, like, it won't leave their wallets, but they're not going to get that again, because it's just going to be a crapshoot again. Other than everyone's going to want to watch Fernando, but this is going to be like Shohei. You guys see the Angel games; it's like $5 sometimes. So this organization knows that they got to go all in. They need to hire the right manager. Whether it's I've kind of moved away from the whole philosophy of this has to be a veteran manager. I don't think it has to be a veteran manager. Just because if it's not the right guy, if it's Ron Washington, who I don't know if he's the right guy, if it's Bannister, we don't know about that. We don't know about Showalter. Like these guys don't really have a history of winning, and so that's kind of why I've moved away from it a little bit. And if you look at the last few guys that have won World Series, Dave Roberts started off as a rookie manager, Alex Cora. I forgot the Nationals one. I think he was a rookie manager as well, but Craig Counsell's doing great things. There's guys that are rookie managers that are doing well. And the difference between those guys and Tingler and Green is that those guys are well respected before they came into an organization.
Yeah, I like that. That's interesting. I do think that there is a stability thing with not bringing in a rookie manager. I also wonder the big thing that is going to matter the most in this is what does AJ Preller want? Because he might just not even be interested in a veteran manager. Like that might be the reality of it, and that in itself is a problem. I think you would agree with that too, Isaac. And that's also like the other thing about this whole like who are they going to hire a manager? There's still other things that need to be done. They need to build up a much better coaching staff, developmental staff, just throughout the entire organization. They have like so few coaches in comparison to some other teams at the MLB level, and then we see a lot of these younger players come up, struggle, continue to struggle with the Padres, then get traded and then go and flourish somewhere else. And that needs to stop because that's not how you succeed in the long run. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing. But where does it start? It's going to start with your GM and your manager. So these guys need to be on the same page. They need to get this right. And from that, then they can build up this staff even more and finally really rock out with a good staff in San Diego. So with that said, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all for listening, and we will talk to you tomorrow.